Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Fan Appreciation Month here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at a martial arts film from 1981. That movie is the Crippled Masters 3, Fighting Life, the last part of this Crippled Masters 2-pack. Now, I believe I can already tell you everything that's going to happen in this movie because I've already seen the first two Crippled Masters films. First of all, I can already tell you this thing's probably going to have literally no connection to the first two. Number two, it's going to have our two main characters have no clue who the other is. They're going to pick at each other because each of them are handicapped, and they're going to have a short fight scene. And then after that, for whatever baffling reason, they are going to be forced to live and work and work together. And while all that's going on, a big evil force is going to take over a town or a city, which is full of able-bodied people, but only these two handicapped martial artists can stop the head of this evil gang or what have you. And it's going to end with a gigantic 2-on-1 fight, which is going to end incredibly abruptly because the people who made these films don't know what the fucking ending is. I'm taking a wild guess because I just gave you the summary of the first two films, and the only things I really skipped were the second one added a skateboard and a monkey to all of that. I really wish I was joking. Now, mind you, this thing could very well be good. In fact, hell, guys, the first one was still sort of interesting in its own little way. So this one does have hope. Granted, that hope is incredibly slim, but there is still hope. And the only way I'm going to find out if this damn thing's any good at all is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out the Crippled Masters 3 Fighting Life. Okay, guys, I actually have to say that I was, wrong. These two actually do know each other at the very start because they're both working for the same company. I'm still going to bet you that every other thing I said is still going to happen, and that this still has no connection to the first two, but I was wrong on the fact that I guessed that they wouldn't know each other at the very start, so we do have that. Okay, guys, I have found another pattern across all three of these films. With each one, the English dub gets steadily worse. Some of this acting is absolutely cringe-worthy. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know. Okay, I'm really curious, guys, when this movie's going to actually give us a plot that is worth caring, about. Because the closest thing we have to any kind of plot is that the film's showing us exactly how difficult it is for the handicapped to get a job in Taipei in the 1980s. That's really about as close as we have gotten to a plot. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a really boring goddamn plot. Okay, guys, so we now have a training sequence which would actually be of some worth if there was some conflict that actually genuinely gave reason for this, training. As opposed to, one of them wants to learn kung fu because fuck you, that's why. And the other one wants to become an acrobat because fuck you, that's why. That literally, guys, is why these two are training right now. Guys, I would really love to be able to tell you what the fuck is going on in this scene. However, because it is going on at night, and the picture quality is so absolutely piss poor on this DVD, I can barely see a fucking thing. Guys, is really sad when I have to bitch about the picture quality on one of these things as the movie's going on. But seriously, I mean, I have almost no clue what the fuck is going on in this goddamn scene. Well, guys, that was the Crippled Masters 3 Fighting Life, and similar to the first two, it just ends. So we don't have any credits, we don't have anything, it just ends. However, unlike the first two, this one actually has some form of closure, it has some form of actual ending. I really am using the word closure in the loosest way possible because you have to have some form of genuine conflict in order for there to be closure, and even then a handful and well, honestly, even then the one major conflict which is there is still left wide open. I'm going to explain that one in just a sec. So at the very start of this, I said that I guessed this thing was probably going to be identical to the first two, because the first two had the exact same plot, had the exact same everything, and I was totally wrong, because the first two had a villain, and it had action, and they had conflict, they had shit that was going to make you care. This has none of that. This film is a drama with a very heavy-handed message. Actually, it has a couple of incredibly heavy-handed messages that would be just fine if this film were being targeted for like 5-year-olds, the people who have to learn these messages, and the messages. I'm going to give you guys the morals of this film, at least the two that this film tries to hammer into your head, and then I'm going to give you the one that I picked up from it. The two which this film are trying to tell you is we need to love, honor, and respect all people, regardless of whether or not they are disabled, which is a fantastic message. It really is, and I have no problem with films trying to convey that message. It's just, you have to have writing that's better than this. Otherwise, it just feels like a wasted message. And the other message, which comes in at almost the absolute last minute, is that you need to work hard and you need to work diligently in order to earn everything and anything you ever get, because nobody ever gets anything for free. That honestly was the closest thing we have to closure to a storyline that was so absolutely dis-fucking connected from everything else in this film. It could have by all rights been its own separate short film and nobody would have given a shit. Anyway, that, guys, is it for messages which this film was trying to hammer in. Now, the one that I pulled from it is that, according to this film, the only way that a person who is disabled is able to make any kind of money is to essentially perform on the sidewalk in your own little one-man fucking like sideshow act, because that is exactly how one of the brothers is now making money. At least we think he's making money like that, until they say that all the money he's raising from that is actually going to the International Handicapped Fund, which apparently is a thing, which means he still isn't making money, which means he can't pay his rent because his brother doesn't have a job, but his brother is a martial arts champion for some international martial arts competition that they never tell us what the actual discipline is. And plus also, he himself doesn't even know what kind of fucking discipline he has, because it alternates between Kung Fu, Taekwondo, and a couple of actors refer to it as Gung Fu. I don't know what the fuck that is. So neither of them are making any real money, so neither of them are able to cover rent, and even though the landlady promised to be nicer because they helped save her house during a storm, I am going to cover that, she's probably going to be incredibly bitchy if they're not able to cover their fucking rent. Just saying. So yes, the only way to make money for others if you are disabled is to become a one-man sideshow act. That's pretty much the message which they gave. Also, if you are disabled, people are going to give you a free ride, apparently, because again, they don't have to worry about rent anymore. Why? Fuck you, that's why. Oh my god, I really, guys, cannot fucking believe that I just summed up the last, half of this goddamn movie in about 45 seconds, but hey, I'm pretty fucking happy about that. So, was there any conflict at all in this fucking thing? Yeah, we had two bits of conflict. One of them was a couple of other tenants in this housing complex are looking for some kind of a treasure. Why? I don't know. They never bothered to tell us. Apparently, it was a treasure buried by one of their grandfathers, and the treasure wound up being that message about working hard and perseverance. But they spend the whole film doing it. They spend the whole film looking for this treasure. And that was the payoff, was this fucking sheet of paper which says, yep, work hard and everything will be yours. Yippee. again, they could have totally cut all of that, and the film would probably been about 15, would have been about 15 minutes shorter, and it wouldn't have impacted the film in the slightest. Now, the other conflict is when one of the brothers decides to become a sideshow. He is then hassled by a bunch of gangsters the very first time that he does this, and you're thinking, all right, awesome, we finally have a conflict because it's gangsters who nobody cares about except the people who live on that one city block, because this is the shittiest batch of gangsters the world has ever seen. And then about an hour in, their boss fucking shows up and screams at them because we aren't supposed to be mean to handicapped people. Yes, guys, that fucking happens. I wish I was kidding. And, oh my god. Yeah, guys, so pretty much every single piece of conflict outside of the brothers having personal fucking strife because the older brother does not want the younger brother to practice any form of martial art, no matter what the fuck people are calling it for that, one scene. Swear to God, it changes almost from scene to scene between Kung Fu, Taekwondo, and Gung Fu. Swear to God. Anyway, and yes, some people were actually calling it Gung Fu. It just bothered me a little. Anyway, so yeah, we have one brother who doesn't want the other brother to, train, in that. Why? There's never really an explanation as to why. And when the brother is actually accepted into a dojo, and he actually has a couple of practice fights, he is then invited to some kind of an international martial arts competition, and he really wants his brother to be there to watch him fight. That literally is it in terms of any kind of conflict, is that one brother wants the other brother to watch him fight. That's it. So, yeah, guys, the writing here is absolute shit. You can probably tell because I've been bitching about the writing for probably a good 5 minutes now. And most of that has to do with once more, similar to the first two, it has to do with the translation. Because they couldn't even keep fucking straight exactly what one of these brothers was, training for. Whether it was Kung Fu or fucking Taekwondo. It doesn't help that some of the actors were also pronouncing Kung Fu with a G, thus also creating the magical new martial art Gung Fu. Yeah, guys, we have that, which is a huge fucking translation issue. We have conversations between fucking characters where it literally sounds like the two characters are having totally different conversations, which are barely connected. Though I swear to God, guys, we have here lines in conversations which are only connected by sheer absolute happen fucking stance. It's like it just happens. It's just okay, yeah, whatever. It works. The translation here is absolutely terrible, and it just basically takes a very, very, it takes very heavy-handed film and makes it almost unwatchable, and the acting is even worse. I said pretty early on that the fucking dub in this thing was absolutely terrible, and it is. It is by far one of, if not the worst fucking dub I have ever sat through. And unlike a bunch of other films I've seen which have had horrible dubs where I could just say fuck it and I could just turn on the, subtitles, you can't do that with older martial arts films because they only give you the English dub. So yeah, guys, we had dreadful voice acting, we had horrible fucking writing, fight scenes. There are very few here, and what few are here are basically the same shit you've seen in the first two films. There's really nothing ultimately special here in terms of fight scenes. If you really want something decent along, those lines, go watch the first one. And if you're absolutely desperate and you want more, then go watch the second one. You are basically drilling into a dry hole if you're looking for good fight scenes in the third one. It is fucking terrible. There's no reason why any human being should ever watch this thing, guys, and the sound mix is also rather bad, but then again, that is kind of sort of par for the course considering the first two. The sound and the soundtrack has maybe a handful of music in there, and it all sucks. Guys, ultimately, am I able to recommend the Crippled Masters 3 Fighting Life? Shit, no. I honestly, guys, could not even recommend it if you were a fan of the first two films. This thing is absolute garbage. And not only that, it is fucking garbage, which is a very good, albeit incredibly heavy-handed message to it, which is far better executed in better films. Guys, if you ever feel the need to watch the fucking Crippled Masters 2, by all means, go right ahead. I mean, okay, yes, it sucks, but I honestly know a whole lot of people who are really into martial arts films who probably think it's pretty good. But this third one is absolutely fucking terrible. And lucky you are able to purchase these separately. So that means that that means that you're not stuck with a 2-pack. You can always just buy the second one and pretend the third one never fucking happened. So there is that. As for me, I kind of wish that both the second and third had never fucking happened, but that is just me. Now, because this is Fan Appreciation Month, the Crippled Masters 3 Fighting Life came off the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in is the same guy who naturally sent me the second one, and that is a YouTuber by the name of Monkey Radar. You can find his YouTube channel over at youtube.com/user/Monkey Radar. Please, guys, swing over there and check out everything he has. And Monkey, thank you, dude, because you know, I was really curious about these things, and I was also curious about the first one, and somebody else sent in that one. And I was hoping for these to at least be fun in a cheesy way. But both 2, and especially 3, are absolute shit. And I would never have found out that if it, wasn't for you, dude. And I thank you. And I thank you for that. My God, this thing was fucking terrible. My God. Alright, well, guys, I am gonna go do something. I don't fucking know what. I just need to do something in order to cleanse my mind from this piece of shit. So yes, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.